Hello and welcome to 18th century France.
What's so important about this era?
Well, tons. The Age of Enlightenment was at its peak.
France had successfully overthrown their king.
And the Reign of Terror had come to an abrupt and bloody end.
But most importantly, our tyrant of an emperor,
Napoleon.
The little Napoleon came of age during the French Revolution, a great time for an ambitious mind like his.
He also earned his reputation as a brilliant military commander.
Also at the time, France had a very unstable government.
A slight breeze could make them flop like a deck of cards. Napoleon happened to be a gale-force wind blowing across all of France.
It all started with the French Revolution, weakening France.
Napoleon saw this as the perfect time to show off his leadership skills and seize control of France.
It all started with his crushing defeat of anti-revolutionary forces.
This earned him friends in high places.
He was quickly promoted general and was given control of an army in Italy.
During his Italian campaign, he promised the Italians freedom from Austrian oppression.
But he failed to keep his promise.
After his victory in Italy, Napoleon wanted to continue his campaign in Egypt.
He swept quickly through Egypt like a hot knife through butter, but suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of the British Navy in the Battle of the Nile.
Even in defeat, he returned to France more popular than ever.
Back in France, he quickly tried to overthrow the democracy.
He succeeded and crowned himself Emperor of France.
As emperor, he had to make people happy, but he had to watch his own back too. He created a new set of laws called Napoleon's Code and controlled all the newspapers in fear of another Marat.
He expanded his empire on all fronts, with Britain as the greatest enemy.
In 1805, he tried a sneak attack against Britain, but failed at the hands of Admiral Lord Nelson.
To control the seas, no country under his rule could trade with Britain.
This new continental system failed miserably.
And in 1812, it started a war between Canada and the United States.
He continued to win battles, but was forced to sign the Treaty of Tilsit in 1807.
After the treaty, Europe divided into countries and provinces.
Russia, Austria, and Prussia stayed the same.
They quickly became Napoleon's allies.
When he conquered countries, they were usually happy with it.
They enjoyed equality and the new laws they received.
During his reign, Napoleon created nationalism.
He turned against his ally and used nationalism to defeat the great Austrian army.
Nationalism became an unstoppable force.
It helped unleash World War I and World War II.
The Tsar of Russia did not trust Napoleon, so he backed out of his allegiance with him.
Napoleon quickly declared war on Russia.
He gathered 600,000 soldiers and promised them each a country after the war was over.
The enormity of Russia put them at a disadvantage.
After their third loss, Russia got smart and hid their troops.
Napoleon's army was forced to retreat.
Napoleon's overstretched army was too deep into Russia when winter came, and they froze to death.
After his loss in Russia, he turns his eyes to Spain.
Unfortunately, his good fortune caught up with him.
Nationalism was turned against him by Spanish rebels.
When Napoleon tries to replace rulers with his family members, the rest of Europe viewed him as a power-hungry tyrant.
Especially in Spain.
The rebels turned to guerrilla warfare, not the traditional battles that Napoleon was used to.
When Britain intervened, it was a lost cause,
His defeat in Russia led to a damaged empire. That's good.
leaving him in need of a new army that was already fighting on 3 fronts.
His empire had too many enemies and broke apart.
Sweden declared war on France.
He lost the Battle of Leipzig and one more battle after that before giving up.
He was exiled to Italy, but even in defeat, he was still powerful.
He escaped from Italy and rallied a new army.
He began to march on Britain.
The Duke of Wellington was sent to meet him.
This was to become the greatest struggle of all time.
With 130,000 men in a small valley, the casualties were devastating.
50,000 men were killed in action.
And the empire almost survived.
After his loss at Waterloo, Napoleon escaped.
Napoleon was caught in a small port town and then exiled to St. Helena, where he died in 1821.
The end.
was a lonely night in Twilight Zone. The saga had just begun. Vampires falling in love with teenage girls. And then I came along.
You died? How do you die?
And shot their asses.